Good morning, Memphis Rocks. How y'all doing? I'm going to do that one more time. Good morning, Memphis RoxFest. How y'all doing? All right. We got koozies to keep y'all warm here. So everyone, just raise your hand or your feet if you're excited to climb today. Yeah, see, I put mine down because I'm going through an issue after yesterday. Unfortunately, I will not be climbing that much. I have some trust issues of climbing. I went out, yeah, exactly. You too? I went out with my uncles, Phil and Conrad, yesterday to climb, and I followed Conrad up a slab, and I learned the hard way. The way he reads rocks is not the way I read rocks. And so the only thing I was flashing yesterday is the life before my eyes on that. So straight off, but I love y'all. I love Uncle Phil, Conrad, and so Kai, everyone that's here. My name is Andrew Alexander King, and you're probably wondering why is this man standing on a stage wearing a hockey jersey in Tennessee talking about climbing, and I'm going to describe that to y'all. There is nothing on the stage right here behind me. It's going to be talking with you, so I'm going to have a little bit of discussion here. I don't want to talk at you. I have some prizes up here. I'm going to ask 3 questions, and I'm looking to you to help me answer those quick questions. Is that okay? Yeah. Cool. First question. First person to raise a hand, I'm going to throw this koozie at you in a nice way. What gets you out of the bed in the morning? What's up? What's your name? Liam, what gets you out of the bed in the morning?
Probably like the sunlight, honestly.
Love that, Liam. Sunlight gets Liam out of the bed in the morning. Get this koozie, Liam. I get a hug to that guy. All right, second question. Why do you climb? Anybody? Why do you climb? That's a good one, too. But for fun? What's your name? Spencer, I love that. I'll give you a koozie. Last question. What are you extremely passionate about when you get out of the bed and you do climb? What keeps you really motivated going through your life, day to day, when you don't have climbing, anything around? What keeps you going? Advocacy. What's your name? Shirley, love that. So for me, all of those things are important. And when I got into climbing, I had no clue what rope climbing was. I did mountaineering. I am from a small little place. It's not really small. It's Detroit, Michigan. We didn't know what climbing was. Climbing to me was getting out of bed in the morning, getting to school, going through a hard place to get to school, really walking through a neighborhood that most people don't want to ever walk through. So when I look at Memphis Rocks and the community they have, it doesn't just resonate with me. I see myself in those individuals. So climbing to me wasn't a thing we thought about. Climbing rocks wasn't something we discussed. It was climbing fences. It was running away from people that were chasing us for different reasons. It's just trying to get to school every day. And I tell people it's something that I'm glad I found in my life because it gave me the motivation to meet some of my best friends, which I'll describe to you. Over my time in this life, I've learned that what only gets me out of bed, what makes me passionate about, is giving back and inspiring people, not just like myself, but the communities I come in contact with. I was fortunate enough to go for Detroit, to see the world thanks to my grandparents in a village like you see around you right now. People from different villages and communities, they all don't look the same, but it's going to take everyone together to actually interact and make sure that those bridges are built together. So like Phil, Conrad, Elle, Kai, everyone you see here, the reason why I'm on this stage is because the premise they built, it gave me the actually confidence to walk on this stage, speak to you confidently about that journey. So how did that village come about? First things first, my grandparents, my family, growing up in a single-parent household said, if you really want to go to college, it's going to take everything in your heart and your community to do that and stay focused. From there, my grandparents adopted me. I was lucky enough to travel with them, go to Hawaii. First time I ever saw anyone black of my color get in the ocean and not drown. And I was like, that's amazing. How can I do that and not drown? First things first, I had to teach myself how to swim. And from there, I understand what community looks like and what culture looks like and how to respect it. I went to go up to the top of mountains, or like, again, hills, people call it, meditate and come down and then surf. I didn't know what climbing was. People here say climbing is climbing a rock or tying in your harness. To me, climbing was climbing up a mountain, taking my ego, putting it aside, learning what's inside myself to really understand the community and culture around me and how to give back to that. And then when I got to college, first person in my family to do it, I went back to Detroit, and a lot of my friends I grew up with, unfortunately, didn't make it out. Some of them are still there in certain institutions. Some of them are still there and have certain tombstones under them. But I got out thanks to the community and culture and people that actually inspired me. So when I look around here and I see different faces and different smiles and different stories, that's what is meaningful and touching to me. Because everyone's climbing a mountain on their own inside. And it's up to us as a community and culture to really look at each other and say, you're here not just for the sake of it or just for the reasoning for it. You're actually here just because you actually deserve to be here in a sense. So when I got to college, again, ran track and field because I didn't want my family to pay for it, and used a scholarship, got into Morehouse College, and I will never forget what my grandfather said. He was so excited. He walked in, he's like, "You're going to Morehouse, have the jersey on and everything, and everyone's partying up." I'm like, no. I'm going to University of Maine. He's like, "That is the whitest place with snow that you're picking." And I was like, the goal was for you never to pay because you already paid it so much forward. It's my turn to take care of you. So when I got to college, I studied really hard, became a D1 athlete, which was something I never thought in a million years I would be able to do. And thanks to my vertical challenges, the Olympics were way out of my reach. But what was in my grasp and reach was actually how to give back and understand the communities and how to speak and really navigate a space. From there, I went to go work in corporate world, worked for the NFL, I worked for Lego, worked for big corporations. But again, what I kept seeing was, in the mirror, I was the only black person I would see when I go in the bathroom. I was the only black person I saw at the table. And I always had to advocate for myself because people are like, "Well, where did you come from? Why are you here?" And I say, "I'm here because I belong to be here." And the mountains and the journey I took to me to get here is one that's very long. And I don't wish that on anybody. So when someone steps into a room and they don't look like you, just remember that that person probably had to jump over hurdles, rocks, climb, swim, bleed, cry to stand in front of you. And they're not asking for a lot. They're just asking for a seat and a place to be seen and heard. And it dawned on me halfway through my career that I can do more than just travel the world and climb mountains by myself. So there I started Between Worlds Project, which is a self-funded project taking what I get from corporate America working my job to give back to communities around the world that are combating sexism, racism, inequality, climate change in their own communities. I don't go in there saying, "Here's a check, let's take a selfie." I go in there saying, "What do you need? What can I give you authentically?" I've been a janitor. I've helped give supplies in different parts in Africa. I've gone to the Dominican Republic, helped put schools back together. And most of the time people are like, "Well, if you don't post about it, how do people know?" I know because I've seen those kids go on and have beautiful lives. They text me, they WhatsApp, they ask me how I'm doing, I ask how they're doing. When COVID broke out, I made sure that they were taken care of. You don't have to have a lot. You don't have to be a billionaire. You don't have to be a millionaire. You just have to have heart, authenticity, and be yourself and give back to people, knowing that sometimes they don't have a lot to give back to besides a smile and a hug. And that, to me, was climbing that mountain. I got to the top. So that was mountain summit number one, coming from Detroit to understand what it meant to actually run, not just for the sake of running from the police or running from a gang member, but running towards what I truly believe in this life, which is being outside and being free, but also giving back to communities around me. Never in a million years I ever thought I'd be on a stage, giving Conrad a hug and texting him on WhatsApp and talking about ice climbing, looking at Elle, who's like, she's like my little sister, but she hates when I call her that, but really, though, I am older than her. But Kai, I can't call him little because he's actually really tall, and I love him. Dom and other people that inspired me. So on my journey, I thought mountaineering, again, after climbing about 50 different mountains and starting with volcanoes around the world, go up to the top, meditate, come down and surf, and give to communities, I thought that was climbing. And then I moved to LA to be closer to my late grandmother before she passed away, and I met one of my best friends and brother, Dominic Berry, and he was like, "Oh, I climb too." And I was like, "Oh, cool, you climb mountains? What mountain you climb?" He was like, "No, I actually climb." And I was like, "What?" And then I learned this thing called a figure eight. That is not skating. It is when you tie your knot for you do not die. Trust me. And from there, I learned that I just began my journey of climbing completely. I know I've been climbing mountains, figuratively walking up them, but I learned that I was now climbing a mountain with people that looked like me, represented my culture, and also connect with other people around the world. And so I fell in love with alpinism, and I don't know why, because I thought ice climbing was the scariest thing, and I still do it, loving it, and I still love alpinism to this day. But what I learned along my journeys is, if I'm the only person climbing, going into the chalets or at the top of this summit that look like me, the only thing I'm actually climbing over repeatedly is my ego. And it's time for me to actually remove that and make sure other communities and cultures can be seen at the top of these summits and be warm and be collected and actually do it authentically and loving what they do. So I got to work with amazing brands and partners. I call them partners because we work together to make sure that other athletes have that set up. I would say, again, to Kai, he actually helped set that up too, and his parents, to make sure, like, when I stepped to the Black Diamond, that journey wasn't as hard for me. So I actually had to step in there and be like, I can be this. Did I grow up climbing 5'10s"? I didn't know what that was. I thought that was a shoe size. I didn't know what that was. And then when you're talking about V2s, I'm like, what is that, velocity? I don't know. Is this chemistry? But now, thanks to him and thanks to Phil, thanks to amazing people that you've heard on this stage already, my journey hasn't had to be so difficult. But I also know when I stepped into that room, like I said earlier, it's to make sure that individuals can be seen. I know I can't have this spotlight forever, and nor do I want it forever. But I also want to know when that person walks on the stage next, that they can be confident in their words and know that other communities are looking out for them. And so working with partners now, it's making sure that those next individuals that come in, when they put those shoes on, when they put that harness on, when they put those crampons on, they're not afraid to be like, I don't know what I'm doing here. I don't know how to put a nice accent. I don't know how to take a whip. But it's like, it's okay. We're all trying to figure it out together. But at the same time, you have those hard conversations with those partners, say like, I can't be just one athlete. You need to have a diverse athlete set to go through that. So that's summit number 2. And summit number 3 is making sure that everyone I see around me that I love and like lives a beautiful life and able to speak on that in technology. And it's not used for the sense of just hearts, comments. It's actually used as a space to see you grow. Watching my sister take photos in Tanzania, watching Amazing Drew talk about his journey, those people, when you see them, it's made to give them hugs. So I can keep talking at you and mumbling, but I think I'm gonna go climb because I'm really cold at this point. But I want y'all to all know that at the end of the day, it's not really about how hard you climb. It's actually about how hard you love people and let them be who they are. So that's my presentation. My name is Andrew Alexander King. I love y'all. And also, don't climb anything Conrad says is a V1. It's probably a 20. All right, love y'all. Bye.